Hey, everybody, welcome to Jid Lowry Writes. Today, I am so honored to be able to introduce Patti Smith with you guys. P.C. Smith was a well known stained glass artist in Carmel by the Sea, California, for over 15 years, creating custom pieces for celebrities and clients all around the world. Upon retirement, she took up her second love, writing, and has published poetry and short stories before writing her first novel. She is a mother of two, a grandmother of four, and a great grandmother of seven. She lives on the Monterey Peninsula, California, and in Darby, Montana, with her loving husband and two dogs. And we're here to talk about the Shingle Weavers Picnic. So, welcome, Miss Patti.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, Miss Patti, here we are talking about your novel, and you've lived, like you say, such this just robust, wonderful, joyful life. Why, like right now for you, what did it mean for you to write this novel?
Well, I think it was such a challenge, for my teacher told me you can do this, you can do this. And I thought, oh yeah, sure. It's easy for you to say. But the fact that I actually finished it was quite a very rewarding thing for me. First time out there, I didn't know really how it was going to sound, how it was going to go over to other people, how were they going to interpret what I wrote. And I got such wonderful reviews on the book that I was just flabbergasted. One interviewer even compared the book to the quality To Kill a Mockingbird. And I thought, to speak my name, in the same phrase with all that was just overwhelming. So, yeah, it's been quite an exciting event for me.
And I could see that comparison to Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird because of your protagonist as well, with Cricket being 8 years old.
Yeah.
And going through, her point of view throughout that story, that narration, when you go back in time to tell that, from that sitting in an attic amongst things to the brother questioning, what was it about that summer? And we flip.
Oh, what was there about that summer?
Yeah, what was it about that summer? That's what the brother, he's like, what was it? It's been all this time, Cricket. What was it? And so now you hear that story, you get that opportunity to go through Cricket's life. And I love her name because she sounded like a little cricket when she was born. So her dad was like, Cricket from now on. I just love the quirkiness of it, the beauty of the language. So I do understand that. And I want you to go back and talk a little bit about, okay, you are an artist, you're creative.
Thank you.
And you've done this amazing work, and then I'm transitioning over now into retirement. And now talk about how that writing took full force for you in your life.
Well, I did a little bit of it all along the way. In fact, it started when I was a kid. And I found out that by leaving a little note on my mom's pillow at night, if I was in trouble for something, by the time morning came around, I was no longer grounded. So I learned that these things can, work. And I went from there to, I wrote for clubs I was in, I would do newsletters. And I always had this yen to come across with a whole story. And everyone asked me, how come you're writing your first novel at age 85? And I said, well, life was messy. I had kids and I had things to do. And I just knew that, in its good time, it would come around. And one of the nicer things about it is that I've gotten calls from some younger women who are in the, let's say, almost empty nest stage, but not quite, just thanking me because they thought that their time to really bloom and express their artistic self had passed them by. And I said, no, you can see you're never too late to do this. Go for it.
And I love that model that you've set, that precedent, because it is so true. That creative well is there within all of us.
I believe that.
It's just accessing it.
Yeah.
And then having that faith that you can pull up that bucket and share it with the world. And you needed somebody to say to you, yes, you can. So
I did.
let's talk about, I love this story. So I'd love for you to share how all of that came to be.
Well, as I said, I was very lucky to get hold of this teacher. Her name is Season H. Fox, and she just knows how to take a, a budding spirit and mold it and correct it without crushing it. And she was just so wonderful about it all. And one of the sweeter sides about this story is that it took me a long time to write the book because, I was taking care of a failing husband, and all kinds of other messy things got in there, but I didn't let it stop me. But with her, I was on the computer all the time, and we shared over the years, divorces and deaths of our parents, and just all kinds of intimate things that, girlfriends, usually share. And I've never heard her voice, and I've never seen her face, but we've been really, really, really good friends over the computer for all these years.
So when you say years, now that you're 85, when did you actually start writing your novel?
I think it was in school with her, when I first took lessons about writing. That was the basis when I worked it out into a book, but that was the first of it. And that was probably 15 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And so when you had that short story homework assignment, that's why homework's important, everybody. Y'all, I'm a
That's
teacher.
right.
I'm going to promote homework. When you had that short story, did you see it as a potential seed for something greater, or did you need that planted within you?
Well, I needed it both. I saw a possibility. I just didn't know how to get there. I was still the new writer, and I thought, how could I put together hundreds of pages out of this story? And with her encouragement and just constantly bringing things out, and the story just started to take form. And I know this sounds ridiculous, but I've heard about this from other writers. When I started writing my characters, they take on a life of their own. And I couldn't wait to get through that chapter that day to read back and see, well, what did so and so say and do? And I tell that to people to go, excuse me, but it's true. And
It
that
is
was so
so true.
interesting. Yeah, yeah.
It's so true, because that's a part of the joy of writing, is that you do have this blank page in front of you. You may know where you're going, but you just don't quite know every single turn
No,
or what happens within these characters' lives until you actually put yourself in front of that page and go.
absolutely.
And that keeps the joy there, the mystery there,
Yeah.
all of the drive. And so when you were sitting, how did you carve out your day? Like, how much did you work on it? I know you said life was messy all in between, but did you have a writer's routine?
Well, I didn't until my teacher gave me a task. And she said, you are going to write a book in 30 days. And that's when I thought, she's lost it.
I
She has
love her
absolutely
already.
lost it.
I love
So
her.
I thought, okay, if she thinks I can do it, I will. So my daughter-in-law lives here on the property in the guest house. And I told her, I'm going to need you to do the things that distract me for 30 days, like things around the kitchen and all this stuff. And she said she would. So I get up in the morning, have my coffee, get my eyes open. I come into my writing room and I just write. The problem I was having, and my teacher pointed out to me, she says, you're your own worst critic. Do not criticize what you're writing. Just get it on paper. She says you'll get the words on the screen or on the paper, but in the seat, and you'll be able to coordinate the two. So I really, really worked at it. I was getting really close to the end. I had about 40 pages or so I had to write. So I just typed away and typed away and typed away. I was so tired. I have got to take a break. So I sat down for a few minutes and sort of stretched, and thought, well, yeah, I think it's going the way I want to. Well, okay, let's get back to it. When I got back to my computer, it had erased all the work I had done that day. I want to see a grown woman cry. I was, oh, boo-hoo, boo-hoo.
I
So
bet.
I finally said, pull it together. So I thought, I can remember it if I just try. So I went back to my computer and I put down what I could remember. And I finished with 2.5 hours to spare. And that was my 30 days writing a book.
Yes, and you are proof that it can be done.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I use the chapter a day strategy, where if I'm writing a 30-page chapter, I got me a 30-day book.
That's
And
right.
so when you said that your teacher challenged you in that way, I was like, yes, love her already. Love it. Just go with the page, get in the seat. And I like how you talked about removing those distractions and
Well,
receiving that support in order to do that.
sort of needed it because, well, if you've done everything that I've done all my life, it is my life. Get up in the morning, clean the house, all the normal household, chores that, women all over the world do. And it was very difficult for me to come in here with all that undone, particularly an unmade bed. My grandmother was ardent about, you do not leave this house without making your bed every single day. So to sit in here knowing my bed was made just drove me nuts, which is funny, but yeah.
But maybe that's what you needed, was to say, none of that really does matter right now because these words matter.
But it's hard for the very first
Yeah.
time to direct that. Now it's much easier for me. The bed can stay unmade. My dear sweet grandmother is not going to come haunt me for doing this. So now I can do it. But she was right. I needed to experience all that to know that I could do it. And it didn't matter whether it was messy because I was going to clean it up as I wrote it. So those were lessons that just her telling me to do that taught me very well. So,
So I love that. So now that you have your book out there circulating, it has been received as, top reviews. Just really talk about the difference between poetry writing and short stories. How did that evolve for you? Because you said you've been writing since a young age. Did you ever consider being a novelist at a young age, or did you really just lean yourself into poetry?
well, I just sort of let it come like as an example, I just had a whole bunch of my family down here for barbecue and my grandkids and so forth and so on, which who are basically all full grown. I talk about them like they're babies. But I also got a wonderful surprise in my life. I gave all my grandkids, what is it, 24 and Me, to go in
23 and Me, yes.
to go and explore their backgrounds and where our relatives may have come from and so forth and so on. And it was about a year later, one of my granddaughters called and said, "Grandma, are you sitting down?" I said, "Do I need to be?" And she, "Yeah, but it's a good sit." So I sat down. I said, "What is it?" She said, "Through the 23 and Me, we found another grandchild." I've heard
Oh,
but I'd never dreamed in a world. And this young man is living in London, and he, genetically, he is my grandson, and I never ever would have found him. And he is so appreciative. I get letters from him all the time. "Oh, I'm so glad that you're my grandmother and that we finally met," and all these. It brings me to tears just wanting to talk about it. So I don't where how did I get on that subject? Oh,
that's a novel in the making, maybe, Miss Patty.
it could be, but I did find. Oh, I know. So he told me he had the COVID. So I thought, oh, and he said, "I really need a hug, Grandma." And that's the last I heard of him for a while. And I thought, okay. And all of a sudden, a poem came to me, and I started writing amidst all these people eating their dinner and everything. And I sent it off to him. And so um, that's just how that comes into my life, even when I'm not expecting it. And it just seems to matter at the time. So,
And it does matter.
yeah.
And it's within real experiences where we're grounded and authentic.
Yeah.
And then we're able to tap into that side of us when we don't quite know how to say the words we need to say. That creative side of us does the work for us.
I find it sort of is my emotional shield that if I can
Yes.
put it down in poetry, uh, I don't feel quite as exposed emotionally, as you do with other things. And in particular, like this little poem that I wrote for him. Do you want me to read it to you?
I would love it. Read it to the audience, Miss Patty.
Okay. Now remember, this is somebody I didn't know I had in my life, but I remember the night that I thought maybe he does exist, but I always wondered. So I wrote him and I said, "Many, many years ago, I had a dream of you. I often wondered if you, I often wonder if by chance," I can't even read this. No, I don't know what I did with it. Anyway, I wonder, see if I remember it. I had a dream of you. A little voice within me kept that dream. This is just a draft. Oh, here we go. Many, many years ago, I had a dream of you. Were you real or were you not? I really never knew. A little voice inside me said, don't give up on your goal. Your dream may one day happen. Just listen to your soul. Then came the miracle of miracles. When first I saw your face, I looked into your gentle eyes. My dream fell into place. Now, here before me standing was the long and missing part. I've been searching for the lost piece of my heart. And that was,
Oh, Miss Pat. I felt every single word.
oh, thank you. Thank you. But see, it's so much easier for me to say that than make up something that doesn't rhyme. I don't know. Maybe I was just born that way. I can't tell. But I've written a lot of poems in my time just because that's how I can basically get my feelings out and feel real good.
I'm the same way with your stained glass artistry. How does that type of work even translate? Because it's like poetry in motion and poetry in peace to me.
Well, when I first, there's another thing. My sister and I moved down to Carmel. We both have divorces at the same time. My mother had a house and we moved in with dogs and kids and all that. And she went off to find a job, and she found a job helping a stained glass artist in downtown Carmel. And I was busy, I don't know, doing what, I can't remember now. And she went out of town. So the person that owned the glass studio gave me a call and said, I really could use a hand. I've got all this stuff going, and could you possibly think of coming to help me? And I said, I don't know anything
Uh, did
about
you move? Oh, Miss Patty, did you move something around your mic? Because now with maybe with the movie, maybe it.
How's that?
Perfect. Okay, so you said when you called, you said you know nothing about stained glass.
Absolutely nothing about stained glass. I said, well, don't know how I could possibly help you. She said, well, it really would be a great help to me if you would just come. I'll show you what to do. It's no big deal. So I thought, I went down, and there was this bench, working bench, and it was all covered with uh, with lead and copper foil and glass cutters and all kinds of weird things that I didn't know what they were. And she said, this is what you're going to need to do. And in about 5 minutes, we did this and turn this, and I'm going, and she left. I thought, oh no, this is going to be the most embarrassing day of my life. So I thought, pull up your big girl panties and let's go for it. So I thought what she said, and I worked and worked and worked and worked, and I finally got it all together, and I got it all soldered and everything, and I put it upstairs. I was so proud of that. And the next day, Kim Novak came in and bought my lamp. Are you familiar with Kim Novak?
That is a very familiar name. I'm Googling, and I believe I know her from a show I used to watch.
She was, we did a lot of work for Alfred Hitchcock. She played in Vertigo. She played.
Yes, I've seen that. I knew. I've seen Vertigo. Yes. I knew I remembered her name.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. And so she bought your lamp, and it was what you thought was going to be a disaster turned out to be something that someone found value in.
So it encouraged me to do another lamp, which I did. Spend as much time as I did with the other one. Put that upstairs, and I'll be doggone if Andy Griffith didn't come in and buy that one. So I'm going, oh, I'm stained glass artist to the stars. You could hardly talk to me. I got so big headed.
What did your sister do? Because you were like,
she's going, oh, give me a break, Patty. So there was a few more that I did. So that led to making the windows, which I really loved, because you can hold that glass up and see the beauty shine through of all the different glasses. I used to dream at night. I would get my project, I would make it, cut all the glass, and I'd hold it up and think, nah, I don't like that. I have to change it to something else. And I worked all night. I'd get back to the studio in the morning. I knew just what I wanted to do, and it was perfect. I didn't get much sleep, but howsoever, it sure worked out with the stained glass. Yeah.
Love that. And then how do all of those skills translate now into your writing, into your process that you're doing now? Because it sounds so very similar.
Well, there is a basis that you need to accomplish, and then you have to build on something. You have to have faith in yourself, your color choices, or your characters. They're about the same. And so it takes about the same kind of discipline, I think. If you were doing the same two arts together, you would use the same disciplines, I think.
And so I know you said it was a challenge for you because at the beginning you were like, I don't have a computer. I don't know how to use one. It's
No.
almost like you're walking into a gallery going, what are these tools? I don't know what all this weird stuff is. How am I going to get
No.
from this thing to that piece? It's almost as if it's that same type of, either you embrace it or you have the fear, and you sound like a lady that embraces a challenge.
Well, I'm going to tell you one challenge I didn't think I was going to embrace. I was going to be one of those senior citizens that was not going to have a computer till I needed one. And then I sure wasn't going to get a laptop because that was just doubling the stupidity of this high-tech stuff until I found out how nice it is to sit on the sofa and work. Then for sure I wasn't going to have an iPhone that had an IQ higher than mine. Absolutely not. And I wasn't going to have one of these wristwatches that talk to you, for crying out loud. What kind of a booby needs that? Well, I ended up with all of them, plus a website, and my granddaughter put me on Instagram. So
Grandma, go.
I just got my watch when I was standing out in front of a little store, I'd gone shopping, and it rang. And the nice thing about it is that your purse rings and you don't have to dig for the phone, which mine is usually in the bottom somewhere, maybe on a cloud down there. I don't know. I never can get it in time. So I went for my watch and I pushed the little button. There's my son. Hi, Mom. He says, how are you liking your new watch? And I said, oh, honey, just fine. I looked down over to my shoulder, and about 20 yards away was this nice little old lady who was sitting on a bench looking at me and looking at me. And I said, I think I'll call you back when I get in the car, honey. I'm sort of drawing attention out here. I don't want to look like a fool. Okay, Mom, I'll talk to you later. So off we go. And I go past the little bench, and the little old lady said, psst, come here. And I thought, oh, no. And she sort of got my hand. She said, come here, dear. And she got my hand and pulled me down so she could whisper. She said, and she looked on both sides very carefully. She said, are you with the CIA? And I said, oh, no. I thought, CIA? No, no, no. So I sat down with her. I said, let me show you something. Showed her the watch and the phone. And she said, oh, my dear. She said, I thought you probably were working for the CIA. I thought, no, I wasn't. But
she's ready to write a crime novel herself.
No kidding. But I did chuckle over that for a long time.
That's hilarious. And so then you got your computer. You figured out how to use it, and you signed up for a writing course.
I did. I had heard good things about Gotham, and I thought, one or the other, I wouldn't know a good course or not. This is my first attempt at it, but I was so fortunate. Not only is it a great school, there isn't any form of writing that they don't have classes in, and they make it really, really easy for you to do it on the computer, and it's international. I had a lot of students that were from Europe in my class, and they just signed up from all over. So that made it really interesting too, because we got to critique each other's work. And then the blessing was Susan, my first teacher, because I had another one too. She was, her name is Carol Bouget, and she's a published author. She's a playwright. She sings in chorals in New York. She writes under C.L. Lawrence, I guess it is. And she's one of those really strong-willed women that you look up to and you admire. I mean, look what she does. She just sort of runs New York. And she just led me to believe, yes, she says, I'm not telling you your writing is good just to make you feel good. She said, your writing is good. And I thought, oh, I took a deep breath on that one. So she had a lot to do with my wanting to go forward with my work too. So,
and then just like Andy Griffith buying your lamp, yes. That was that positive reinforcement. And then you just now are on this journey. What's next for you, Miss Patti? Are you going to, I know you're still writing poetry because it's just going to continue in your heart. Are you looking Because at the end of your novel, I'm not giving any spoiler alerts, but it's like, or is it? Or is
Yeah,
it?
this is the end, or is it? Well, I thought about maybe trying to do a sequel, but I thought let's let Sleeping Dogs Lie. These people are good in this book. I thought I liked my characters. I didn't want to do anything that's going to change that. So I thought I'm going to write a second book. I'm going to write it about that same era of the 1940s. Is very, very likable for me, and I'm going to write it about Montana this time. So
Oh,
I've got it. I
nice.
have it half drafted, so I've already started working on it.
And so when you say half drafted, are you going to do your 30-day challenge, and are you going to try to do the novel in a month? Are you
Oh,
plotting it right now? Like, do you do your plot points, or are
I,
you drafting first draft in front
I'm
of the screen?
starting. I don't know how other writers do it because I've not been in the writing world very long. But for me, it's the characters first, and so I write my characters and I dress them and I give them a stance or an attitude or whatever it is. And then when I really have got the story starts to form and is we're starting to write, then I let all my characters come back and I audition them to see if they fit the roles, and that's how I do it.
Very unique.
Yeah.
And so you're doing character profiles now at the
Yeah.
beginning, and then
And a
yeah.
bit of a story here and there. I've got maybe 2 or 3 pages worth of a story, and I just put that to the side. I'll incorporate that with something bigger, as I go. So but mainly I've been trying to do these interviews for the book. See, in Montana, the only living things that visit me and would be interested in my book are four-legged elk, and I haven't been able to really sell all that good there. And nothing's close. There's no. I mean, I'm out in the middle of nowhere. There's no place, no malls to have book signings or anything like that. So about the only way I can talk about my book is with nice people like you. So I've really enjoyed it. It's turned out to be. I was scared to death at first, but it's turned out to be quite a pleasure.
And so what did you learn from that? Again, the no fear, and that the words matter enough to
Yeah.
champion the words.
Yes, that's it for me. And of course, I'm in the ideal space up there in Montana. Everything is so easy go, and I don't care. We spent our first winter there, and that didn't bother me at all. Because snow coming down, because I'm tucked upstairs in my fuzzy pink slippers and writing, while before I have my coffee or whatever. So it's just a perfect environment for me. I just love it. So
Oh, it sounds just like a dream.
it is really, it
Like
really
a
is.
dream. So I know that you've had such joy with this. I can see the joy radiating on your face as you talk about your novel and your process, and learning who you are as a writer and just going after it. Like, what would you say to people who are just starting out and they are looking for ways to improve their craft, or to just, how am I going to get the idea out of my head onto that page?
Well, I think the first thing that you've got to realize, or you have to tell yourself, I know I had to tell myself, is you can do this. You can do this. And once that sinks in, uh, the other thing I would say is just trust yourself. Just trust your emotions. Put them on paper. Your words are as valuable as anybody else's. And I call it word painting. You put it on your page and you paint that picture with your words. And if you can do that, you'll write something good.
Oh, I love it, Miss Patty. So now that you're on Instagram,
Oh Lord, I don't know how to work it yet, but I'm trying.
you'll get there. I have all the confidence in the world that you're going to figure it all out.
Thank you.
So we have website, Instagram. You're now learning all about the social media.
Yeah.
So I'm very proud, and I can't wait to see what's next from you.
Oh, thank you so much.
So, guys, I want to encourage you right now to go out and get your copy of The Shingle Weaver's Picnic. It is crime, mystery, thriller, drama, set during World War II. You guys are going to absolutely love it, and you will be able to see a lot of that type of parallel writing and from the child's perspective with Cricket. And I think you would thoroughly enjoy it, and it will keep you turning the pages. So thank you so much, Miss Patty, for being here. Last words, Miss Patty, before we're signing off. Last words.
All right. I do have a website, and that is lowercase letters, and it's author pcsmith.com, and you can find out, or you can buy the book and a little bit more if I didn't tell you everything right now. So go there.
Love it. Love it. And I will
Thank
put
you.
everything in the description so that way you can follow Miss Patti and you'll go to her site, follow her on Instagram. And I'm just so thankful that you shared your afternoon with me. It has been a blessing to talk with you.
Thank you so much to have me. I really appreciate it. You've been a joy.
All right, guys. I will talk with y'all later.
Bye.
Bye.